Hello, my friends. I thought it might be fun today to give you a little bit of an update and a little tour around my space. I know I show little glimpses, and you've probably seen this garden in my front yard renovation series, but I thought it might be fun to walk you through how it exists today and give you some updates as to projects that we've tackled in previous videos. So I think we're going to start on the dining patio side, but what you see me standing on here is the main walkway to the front door. This is a small 1940s cottage. Our main story is really only about 900 square feet at best. And the goal of this front garden was to extend our home into the front yard. Whenever I work with a client, one of the things that I always ask them is how do they want to use their space? And for us, we really wanted this to be an extension of our home. And we wanted to greet people literally at the front sidewalk. So this is what we have created. So follow me over to the dining patio and I will kind of show you the thought process there. Someone had commented in an earlier video that this was a very quadratic, squared off space, and they weren't sure how the arches would feel. And I have to say that I did want this feel very square. I wanted it to feel like it echoed the cottage. And I also wanted it to feel a little bit masculine with just kind of a lot of these heavy angles. Pardon the wind chime. So essentially, I created this angled staircase where you can basically walk down right at an angle into this dining patio. And the whole goal of this dining patio was to have it feel nestled in, kind of have this modern pergola moment. Things are coming right along. I do want to show you my roses, and I also want to show you a new flower that's coming to bloom, which is my lilac collection. So let's pop over to my roses first. In the last video, you saw how incredibly sandy my soil was, and of course the roses are loving it. I showed myself cutting these back really hard, and I know I gave some of you a heart attack with how hard I cut them back, but if you look at these beautiful leaves, I fertilized these a couple weeks ago, and they are so happy. They are, I mean, you can just look at this brand new foliage and it is happy as a clam. I am watching them closely because it's about this time of year that I start seeing aphids, but so far so good. And as you can see right here, we have some of our first blooms coming in. This one is, if I'm not mistaken, Celestial Night. Yes. This is Celestial Night. It's a really deep, beautiful, almost like a raspberry purple. In any event, all four of these roses have taken really, really well to that hard prune that I did. And every single one of them is showing buds, which makes me so happy. Below and kind of around this whole area, I've planted one of my absolute favorites. This is Lady's Mantle. This is Alchemilla mollis. This is the variety called Thriller, and I cannot imagine a garden without this. It is such a workhorse for me, and it gets big and blousy, and it really can handle these poor soil conditions that we are just every day working to improve. I also want to show you this really quickly. This is one of these plants that, okay, I talk a lot in my work about forming relationships with plants and knowing who your plant people are. And Alchemilla mollis, Lady's Mantle, is one of my plant people. It's like messy and it's unstructured, yet you can rely on it and it's happy and cheerful. I also love how this plant engages with the world around us, and this is my favorite part. It holds dewdrops, it holds moisture, and it makes me so incredibly happy. And so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Right here, you can see beautiful dewdrops just held, and I've just watered a little bit. And I mean, my gosh, I love it when the dew comes because you can see it right here. Do you see that? How it just gathers on the very tip of each leaf. This is just a sensational plant. Love it so much. The other thing I have here is Salvia caradona. It's one of my favorite all-time salvias. This is a beauty in the garden. One of the things I love the most about it is the stem color. It gets this dark, almost black, super rock and roll just kind of a modern salvia. This will have these beautiful dark blue spires, and it's just another heavy hitter, another kind of Mediterranean inspired selection to work with the incredibly sandy soil conditions that we have here on the property. So the next thing I want to show you are the lilacs that I have in my garden. I have 3 lilacs. In design, I place a lot of things in triangles to kind of help move the eye through. So I have a lilac at each front corner of the property, and then I have one towards the house, and I will go through all 3 and kind of give you a little, just a little story about each one of them. So the first one is behind me. It was a present from my very dear, wonderful partner, and it is called the Beauty of Moscow. And I bought this as just like, he bought it for me as just this tiny little stick in the ground, and planted it actually right before my dad passed away. So it just is a very special dear one, and it is absolutely stunning. So it is right here. It is just coming into peak glory. And what you're going to notice is I love a plant that I can enjoy at so many different stages. So when the buds emerge, they have this like lilac-y, smoky pink that dusts every single one of these buds. I mean, this is just, it is absolutely sensational. And then as they open, it's a beautiful double bloom. And so you just get this incredible, not just a little star shape, but I mean, oh my gosh, 8 million petals, and it smells sensational. And you can see we're just about 4 feet tall, and I've got one bloom here, and I've got another one here. So this lilac is still very much in its infancy. Next year, I feel like we are really gonna see this bad boy off to the races, and it just like, the scent of this lilac is really hard to describe. It is your classic lilac scent, but it's a little bit softer. It's a little bit more, it's not as sharp, it's more muted. And it just is this beautiful, heady lilac scent. And I kind of imagine that as we come out in May and we're having these few first dinner outdoor moments, we get to surround ourselves with this stunning scent. As we come around to kind of the street side of the garden, I have more things that just really enjoy my dry conditions. I have Sedum Autumn Joy that I rescued from some planters. I have more Salvia caradona, and I'm still kind of playing with some of these other spaces. And I think it's important for me to showcase a garden that isn't done, because most of us live in gardens that evolve over many years. And so I'm playing with some different ideas. I'm definitely playing with the idea of some grasses. I also am playing with the idea of adding in some gara, some whirling butterflies. And I'm also playing with the idea of, I have Mexican fleabane, Aringeron, and I'm thinking that I might pull some of that into the inside. The other thing is I have lamb's ear that is along my boxwood border, and I'm thinking of transplanting a little bit of this because I feel like I need a shot of silver. I need a shot of like some blue tones and some deep, deep purples. So those are things that are percolating in my brain as I'm developing this further. So behind me, we have a little bit of a house project to wrap up. We painted the house last year. This is a color called Ambiguous Black. And we had played with potentially doing a darker sill, but I missed the creamy white. So that's gonna go away, and that's on our radar for things to complete this spring as we're having these beautiful dry days. But I wanna show you another lilac in my garden. This is Syringa Miss Kim. So this is a Korean lilac. That is the common name, and the variety is Miss Kim. It is just about to burst open. So what you get is just an absolute, just show-stopping array of teeny tiny blooms that when they open, it's a single bloom in there. So it's not that double that we saw with the Beauty of Moscow, but it opens up into this little star-shaped bud. And as it opens up, it goes from this deep purpley tone to a much brighter lavender. Very, very sweet. And so I am anxiously awaiting this. It should be cracking open any moment now. And then I have down here the sweetest gem. Now, in this front garden, I had aimed for this kind of purpley moment in the spring, deep purples and mid-tone lavenders. And for the more summer moment, I have this geum coming into play, and it marries in a lot of this like peachy tone along with a deeper cranberry that I'm going to be working in. So And then I'm still developing this color scheme. You know, my garden is never finished, but these GMs really didn't do a lot last year. And now, I mean, my goodness, this petal shape is sensational. And I can't remember what variety this is, but I'll see if I can dig up a tag. It's Mai Tai or blah, blah, blah. We're not sure. But I do have 3 of them. And I did choose it for this very specific petal. Okay, I'm going to take you over to the other side. I want to show you my 3rd lilac that completes the trio in the garden, as well as what's going on in the raised veggie beds and an update on my hydrangea pruning. This is the 3rd lilac in my garden, and this one is an unknown variety, but is a beautiful, kind of almost a double white there. You're going to get just a second, not only do you have this star shape, but you get this second little layer of petals. And this is a white lilac that originally is from my parents' garden. My mom dug up a little sucker and we planted it when it was just maybe like 3 sticks in the ground. And now again, it is probably, gosh, we're going into our 2nd year in my garden and it's now about 4 feet tall. And we finally have some blooms going on. So this is just going to get bigger and more lovely. And even though this is positioned in the southern part of my garden, you can see that these veggie beds are still getting hit by this column of late day sun. So I don't feel like it's blocking too much. And if it ever does get too big, these lilacs transplant super easily for me. So I can always move it around in the garden. So here we are. These are the 3 limelight hydrangeas that you all saw me prune back in an earlier video. I will also link that one below. And as you can see, we were really working towards kind of equalizing all 3 because all 3 were purchased kind of at different times and planted at different times. And I needed to thin them to a point where they would grow somewhat symmetrically. In any event, these are all fleshed out. They are all doing incredibly well. And so far so good. The structure is just coming along perfectly. Here we are in the raised parterre veggie area, and the people have spoken. I'm definitely going to be adding an arch here. I've scoped out a couple. I've found some cattle panel options, and then I've also found some more rusted arches, the ones that we saw at Ravenna Gardens, and there are ones that are 20 inches wide. I think that's what I'm going to do here. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We have to try out options. There might be trouble in paradise. I don't want square. I want arches. I just, like, we have so much square out here. I feel like we need some softness. Okay. That debate will have to happen off screen, but I'm voting arch. I think we need it, don't you? I want an arch. Plus, then we can just plunk it right in. Immediate gratification. All right, welcome to the edible side of our front garden. This is a space that actually gets a lot of usage. We love it here. Funny enough, we have chit chats with our neighbors in the edible space, which always cracks me up. And so I want to take you through just to kind of review what we've done and where we are headed and things that are already cooking right along. I may do a video where I'm just throwing in seeds as fast as I can because I do want this space off to the races. So in front, there's not a lot of activity yet. You guys saw me plant these leeks and they are still absolute babies. But what I do want to show you is look at all of my daikons and all of my other radishes. These are, you can see it down there. I mean, my gosh, these are getting so big. I'm really excited about these. And you can see right here, look at these cute little babies. These ones are Cherry Belle. This is one of my favorite kind of traditional radishes. Oh, this is hilarious. Those are carrot seeds. What? Okay. Sloppy gardener, sloppy gardener. And then my little green onions. These are taking forever to come up. Forever and ever and ever. I may need to up the watering on this bed and give them a little bit of a fertilizer. But everybody's off to the races. Oh, and these ones, these are French breakfast radishes. And if you've never grown them before, you can kind of see it. It starts out with like a pinky top. And then as you go down, it kind of turns whitish. They are so, so pretty. And then the peas in the background. These Oregon snow peas are always the first ones up and they are ready to start trellising. So that is on my list of projects probably for this weekend. And then on the left-hand side, we have just a traditional sugar snap and these guys are just ready to rock and roll. This side of the garden, not much activity other than the things that you've seen in the last video, but the chamomile forest is huge this year. And this was such a fun one, and it makes such a beautiful tea, and it's so decorative, you know, as well as functional. So I really need to figure out more places to stack this because it is really a lovely addition to the garden. All right, one of the other things that I showed you in a previous video, but I really want to get up close on this. This is an alpine strawberry. It's a pineapple strawberry, and I purchased this at the Seattle Tilth May edible plant sale. That is coming up. It is something I go to every year. Phenomenal organization, great plants, love them so, so much. And we spend too much money every year at this sale. Every year I buy too much. Anyways, I probably won't stop doing it this year. Probably won't. These 3 plants, I have to tell you, have been one of the best investments from that sale. So this is literally 1, 2, 3 little tiny 4-inch pots. And I feel like they got this big by the end of the growing season last year. I mean, so this is equivalent to last year's growth. I mean, this was such an incredible performer. And it is off to the races so early. Like right down here, these 2, these are already setting fruit. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. And this is one of those little snacker strawberries that I always include in the garden because whenever I'm out here, I like to snack while I work. It's a thing. I love a good snack. And so this is like one of my #1 picks for gardening snacks. All right, friends, doing a little quick update on the front porch. This has been such a beautiful container, but we are reaching the end of its spring show-stoppingness. The heuchera is still going strong. I love that it's kind of grown upward to meet the wallflower, so these colors are really working together. You can see down here my saxifrage. This is just about done. And then over here, my candy tufts. She is fading for the season. And you can also see my tulips are now done. So tomorrow, it'll either come tomorrow or Thursday, I am picking up over 1,000 summer annuals to start designing containers for all of my summer clients. And so you are going to see me probably next week transform this from a spring arrangement into a summer container. All right, friends, ending back here in the dining patio area, this little table we have maxed out. Essentially, by the time we get myself, my partner, the 3 kids all around this table, it is a packed house and it actually doesn't seat our family comfortably anymore. So we are on the hunt for a new table. What we're doing right now, honestly, is just bringing, whenever we have another family over, we bring out a second card table just to like have room for everybody. But we really want like a nice rectangular, gracious table out here. And I've been looking around, but I haven't quite found the one yet. So if you have a secret source for dining patio furniture, I am all ears. I think I'll know it when I see it, but we've looked at new places, online, consignment shops, and I just haven't found the ticket yet. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where like when you find it, you know it. So in any event, if you have any suggestions of places that you have bought great patio furniture from, I'm all ears. I always love a good news source. Well, thank you so much for coming along on my first official garden tour. This makes it feel like a proper channel. I hope you've enjoyed it, weeds and all. As you can see, this is very much a gardener's garden. I am developing this little by little, and I'm so glad to have you along on the journey. Thank you so much for coming along. I'm going to see you in the next one, and in the meantime, say hello to your garden for me.